If we go to the Middle Ages, during the Middle Ages, due to numerous factors, where I mentioned in early antiquity we have literacy rates being very low, at a certain point in time, following the 4th century, literacy rates actually start to go up. But in the Middle Ages, due to numerous factors, literacy plummets. And although often erroneously referred to as the Dark Ages, this time of history was anything but dark. The concept of the modern university developed during this time. Eyeglasses and mechanical clocks were invented. The scientific method, the infancy of modern chemistry, astronomy, and biology were established. Now, yet, simultaneously, it is true that leading into the Middle Ages, literacy rates for this time, for the populace plummeted, particularly across Europe, and the societies reverted into an oral culture. And what happened then is that Christians became creative in that as literacy rates weaned, orality grew as the norm in the church to respond with iconic displays inside the walls of its edifices and fused on its stained glass windows. This was a medium of technological communication that displayed both the beauty of scriptural truth as well as the narrative intricacy of the Bible itself. However, literacy was reintroduced on mass scale in the 12th century, when Chinese trade routes made famous the Silk Roads and brought the availability of paper back to Europe. A couple of hundred years later, the stage was set for another important invention in world history, the printing press. In 1440, Johannes Gutenberg established the basics of his writing press, and in 1454, his printing press was put into commercial use. And with this technological innovation, literacy and independent study increased by leaps and bounds in an incredibly short period of time. And in 1517, a small-time German monk by the name of Martin Luther had the communication tool he needed to launch a movement of reform within the church that we now know as the Protestant Reformation. That was largely due to the taking on of the technological advancements of something like the printing press. And this led to an influx of the availability of God's word in the vernacular, in the regular language, that led to multiple English translations, but particularly printed editions that predate even something that we think of as like the King James Bible in 1611. There were at least 10 translations of the Bible in English that predated the King James translation. And a big part of the availability of that being possible was due to the technological adoption of something like the printing press, which made the availability of God's word and the gospel message able to go out among the populace.